Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hi guys, welcome to video number 10 for the Canon EOS 5D Mark II, and in this video we're having a look at camera setup, or the gold menu, spanner menu, number 3. To start with, we have battery info, and on this menu when we go into it, it will tell us the type of battery that it is. I mean, it takes the LPE6. You may see a different battery in some cameras. If people have a 7D Mark II that's just been released, it has an LPE6N battery, slightly higher capacity, same size, which will work on the older bodies like the 60D, 7D, 70D, 5D Mark II, 3 and so forth, I believe, but generally it's the LPE6. Now it tells you the remaining capacity, which is 90% or 91% in this case, the shutter count 4, and the recharge performance, all green. These are new batteries, so they are in good health. That will gradually drop down until it gets to the 1 bar, which will go from green eventually to red. At that point you've not got a whole lot of recharge cycles left. I don't know how many, so it's probably time to start shopping around for replacement batteries at that point. The Canon LPE6 battery lasts ages in the 5D2. Movie mode, live view will kill it quicker obviously, but with the battery grip that I have on normally, which is the BGE6 I think, I forget the name right, I have 2 of these batteries in and I can shoot all day without any worries. In fact, I can do a couple of weeks worth of shooting in most cases on the 2 batteries in there, but I've got multiple spares anyway. So we'll go out of that. Now, info button. So this little button here, we can have it to do the normal display. So as soon as we press the info button, it tells us the what the custom modes are set to in terms of the shooting mode, color space and all that stuff. Okay. As we cycle through that, we get to the quick menu and then off. Now we can change what displays on that by going to the camera set. Okay, so when we press that, it goes back to the same screen. That makes no difference. Okay, or shoot function, that's the one I'm looking for. So when we press this, it goes straight through to the quick menu. Okay, and then off completely. I prefer to have the normal display off because you can then cycle through at least to what you want. I never look at this information anyway because I look at the top plate and generally know what the camera's set to doing, and it's rare that I'll use the quick menu on this camera anyway because we have the top plate controls. Like I say, I've mentioned in a previous video that it's handy having this quick menu function there if you're transitioning from a Rebel camera, because they don't have the top plate LCDs, so it's a nice transition, you know, to still have that there to be able to change the settings, of course. So external speedlight control. Now, one thing I've not done is, one second, put a speedlight on. So, one moment. I don't know. Right. So, let's throw a light on here. Lock that down. Turn the light on. Okay. Multi, we'll go TTL, whatever. Okay, so now I've got a speedlight on top of the camera. It's a 600EX RT. I do have 430EX2s as well. That was the one that wasn't in a case. And we'll go into the external flash function settings menu. Now, flash function settings, as we go into here, we can change the flash mode. We can do it on the flash, the body of the flash as well, which I know you can't see, but we can change it to manual, okay, and multi-flash. So the camera knows what the flash is capable of. You will see different menu options when you have different flashes attached, be them maybe third party or lower end flashes, like the 430EX, 430EX2, which by the way are a very, very good flash to start with. Great little unit. Okay, so we'll kick that back to ETTL. Now, in ETTL, we have here first curtain, second curtain, or high speed sync. First curtain, flash goes off at the beginning of the exposure, second curtain at the end of the exposure. High speed sync allows you to go past your camera's sync speed, which is 1/200th of a second, although with wireless triggers it's 160th of a second. In most cases, with off-brand triggers, with off-brand lights most certainly, but you can push past your sync speed at the expense of flash power. You've got to get your lights much closer as a result. There's more on that on my other channel. We have flash exposure bracketing, where you can tell the flash to bracket exposures over a couple of shots. Never used it myself, but we can go plus or minus 1, and the third stops as well, all the way up to 3. Okay, and there. Flash exposure compensation. So in ETTL mode, the camera is doing the metering through the lens, and the flash is calculating that information from a pre-flash, and they decide this is how much light you need. Cameras meters are relatively stupid, so we have to use exposure compensation when shooting ambient light and flash exposure compensation when shooting flash in many cases. I'm not saying it doesn't ever get it right, because it will, but we need to sometimes tell the flash, no, you need to give me 1 stop more, 1 stop less. Similar when we're shooting in aperture priority and we need to use exposure compensation to tell the camera, you're stupid, it's a white wall, bride wearing a white dress, you need to give me 1 stop plus exposure. In fact, it's more than that for the 5D2, I find, to get a good exposure. Now, flash TTL or ETTL metering, we can have it on evaluative, which is what the camera is set to, and certainly on my camera, evaluative, where it looks at the whole scene and takes everything into account and tries to do right by everything, or an average as well. Okay, I tend to leave mine on evaluative, but it's rare I shoot TTL. You can zoom the flash head. Okay, so the flash head will zoom, and it's picked up that this flash will go up to 105mm. Now this flash head will go up to 200mm, to 135 to 200. The camera doesn't know it, it's an older generation body, so to get the most out of this camera you need it on a 5D3 or a 1DX or a 70D, anything that's later basically. Yeah, it's not an excuse to upgrade. Wireless set. Okay, we can tell this particular light to become a master, and that's why I've put this light on as well. You won't see this feature there on the 430EX2s or the 430EXs because they are not master capable. So this flash will communicate with other remote flashes and tell them what to do. So we can set that to enabled, set the master flash enabled, set the channel, set the firing groups there. Okay, will you do ratios, okay, or A plus B plus C groups, and so forth. Your mileage will differ depending on the gear that you have and that you're attaching. Okay, so you may see some things, you may see other things that aren't there. Notice there's a few things that are missing currently here. Again, this is an older generation camera with a newer generation flash. Okay, flash firing enabled. Okay, and there. Now if we go to manual, for example, okay, we can manually change the power of the flash, okay, and the output up to full power to wherever we want. Okay, and we can go first curtain and high speed sync. Okay, or we can zoom the flash head, wireless set. We can go back into there as well and use wireless manually. So again, this will be the commander flash controlling remote flashes, remote slaves such as 430EX2s. Okay, and flash firing enabled there. So very similar. So we'll go back to that menu and we'll drop down to the camera user setting. I'm just going to take this flash off now. There we go. Save the batteries. Right, okay, now, so camera user setting, we go into there, we can register settings, okay, to mode dial C1, C2, C3, the custom settings, so you can register whether you want the camera to be in shutter priority, aperture priority, manual, P mode, whatever, and start the base settings there. So currently it's in manual mode, ISO 3200, I can't remember the aperture, okay, and we can set that to custom mode 1 on the mode dial, so these settings when I go to C1 will stay there locked in. never use the custom modes really. I'll always go to aperture priority or manual in most cases and dial in settings, change white balance and all that stuff from there. Because it's most of the stuff that I do is locked down in studio or on location, so the light stays consistent. So I don't really need to have quick changes for different environments, and I'd probably just change it on the fly anyway. We can clear those settings, okay, on that we've just registered, which I will. Okay, we'll clear those. And clear settings, you can clear all camera settings, delete copyright information. Okay, we'll look at how to add that later on. Or you can clear all camera settings. So any custom function settings that you've got set, any view modes, playback, LCD brightness, you name it, you factory reset the camera. So it's worth remembering where this is, coming back to it if you get yourself in a bit of a muddle. Obviously watch these videos, but you can go back to scratch, start again and clear all those settings. Don't want to do that. There we go. And lastly on this menu we have the firmware version, which is 2.1.2, which I believe is the latest firmware for the 5D Mark II. Memory card containing firmware is required to update. This card doesn't have any firmware on, but I believe that that is the latest firmware. So that's the last of the shooting menus, or the shooting setup menus if you will, or gold menus. And next we're going to have a look at the custom function menus coming up. Again, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. If you've got any questions, ask them below. I know with some of the movie mode stuff and the external Speedlite stuff, you may have some questions on that. I'll have a look briefly at the movie thing, or the movie settings later on. The external flash, I may do something on that as a separate thing on the other channel, but I'm trying not to make that channel brand specific because that's all Canon based. But we'll see how we go. But stick comments in the questions. Stick comments in the questions below. Stick questions in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next video.